If you're someone who struggles with food noise, food addiction, um, not being able to just put the fork down, this need to finish every single thing on your plate and go back for more and then for more. If you're a closet eater, if you try to hide the amount, then maybe this video will be helpful for you. My name is Taisha, and I am someone who struggles with a binge eating disorder. Even after having kids, I have 5 daughters, I was able to get the weight off. Like it wasn't anything that required any type of, real work. It just came off. So when I got to a certain point in life, maybe my 30s, totally changed. And I remember women used to tell me when I was younger, like, oh, you better appreciate it now because when you hit your 30s, and I was just like, blah, 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 whatever, whatever. Yeah, it kind of happened because I had really terrible eating habits. And so with my, I would say, food addiction, it's not about me being sad or happy. Like, I know that there are people that struggle with that, but that's not my struggle. All I know is from the moment I woke up, all I could think about was food from the time I went to bed. I would wake up and be planning out the day, like, oh my gosh, what am I going to eat? And if I tried to be restrictive in any way, it would only last for a little while, and then it would be like my hunger would come back with a vengeance. So years and years of kind of yo-yo dieting and doing different things. I won't talk about them now, maybe later if you guys are interested. A lot of different faddish things and things that just were not healthy. It was almost like I was kind of desperate, to lose weight. And it wasn't because of anyone else. I can't say that I had any poor treatment or anything like that. I just got to a point where I couldn't stand to even look at myself in the mirror, to look at myself with no clothes on. I was in pain all the time. So in 2020, I got to my highest weight, which was 216 pounds, and I was miserable. I would excessively drink to kind of get out of my head about how I looked. I know this all seems very vain, and maybe it is, but I'm just telling you, this is how I felt. The end of August in 2020, I had a biopsy done and a colonoscopy because I had, issues going on and they were trying to get to the bottom of it. Well, right after that procedure, because it's an out, you get it done and then you can go home the same day. It's not anything that's major. When I woke up, I was just in a lot of pain. And nurse said, oh, it's just gas. It's just gas. And I'm like, nah, this doesn't feel like gas. Like I know what gas feels like. This is different. So they gave me some simethicone drops. I don't remember if she gave me Dilaudid or something like that. My husband took me home. The whole way home, it started to progressively get worse. And when I got home, I can't explain it. Like I started sweating profusely. I started throwing up. Actually urinated on myself. Like I felt like something was wrong. Like I really felt like, oh my God, I'm going to die. And my husband was just kind of like nonchalant about it. Like, oh no, she said it's just gas. You'll be fine. And I'm like, no, something's wrong. Something's wrong. This pain, like it's getting worse. And then whenever I would inhale, it was worse, right? My daughter called, she dialed 911. They came. They asked me if I was diabetic, and I said no. Pre-diabetic, but not diabetic. So they checked my blood sugar, and that was over 400. I don't remember the exact number, just that it was over 400, which to me that meant nothing because I didn't know, what it was supposed to be. All I knew is I'm miserable right now and I don't want to answer any more questions. I want to go to the hospital. So they were still trying to get background, and I just got to a point where I couldn't talk anymore. So they got me in the ambulance. They started an IV. It's kind of hit or miss. Like I don't remember the whole way there. I remember getting to the ER and basically being treated, just they were kind of the person that was working, the nurse that we had, very dismissive. I don't know if she had a bad day, but she had a really shitty attitude. I felt like I had to throw up. No one came with anything. So of course I threw up, and then I was throwing up so violently that I peed on myself. So when the person came down to take me to get a CT scan, it couldn't take me because I had to get cleaned up. So then we had to wait for the nurse to come back in so I could change and stuff. And then I was taken up to have a CT scan. Miserable, miserable. By the time I got back to my room, I feel like it didn't take very long before they came rushing in. I was bleeding internally. And I remember being taken to the ICU. I had to get a transfusion, and I spent 7 days in the hospital. And then I was just discharged, and then I went back for another 3 days. And that, first of all, the pain was worse than childbirth. So what happened was I had a liver hematoma. I kept bleeding for whatever reason, and that's where all the pain was coming from. And my body was kind of going into shock. And so then I had to have the transfusion, came out of the hospital, and my whole mindset was different. I was like, I almost died. And those procedures wouldn't have been done if I wasn't having the health issues that I was having as a result of the way that I was eating, and I can't even say not really, I wasn't taking care of myself. So when I came out, I was like, no, I have daughters. Like, I'm not dying this way. This is not it. Like, I know we can't really control the way we die, but I was like, nah, this is, nope, something has to change. So I knew that dairy was something that I'm lactose intolerant. So I cut out dairy. Then I lost my desire to eat meat. So I cut out dairy. I stopped eating meat. At that point, I did not consider myself a vegan because I know it's more than just not eating meat and dairy, right? I just wanted to be healthy. So I had lost, it wasn't about, oh, I'm trying to get skinny, or I want to, I just wanted to be healthy. And I was told that I needed to lose weight. And so I started losing the weight. I changed my diet and I started walking. Couldn't walk really far, but as I kept going, I got up to a point where I could do 3 miles through the neighborhood, and you couldn't tell me anything. I felt really good. And the weight was coming off. I was also, almost forgot to tell you, I was being treated for binge eating disorder with Vyvanse. So that was helping, obviously, right? And it didn't take away, like, I was still able to eat on it. I could still have binges, but they weren't to the degree that they were before. Around mid-October, I was like, okay, my weight's going down, but I felt like I looked real flabby, and I just, I wasn't necessarily happy with that. Like, I was happy to be alive. I was happy that my different levels for things were improving, but I still felt like there was something else missing. So I started working out, and I did that consistently. I put it on my calendar as an appointment. It was, I believe, at 9:00. So 9:00, Monday through Thursday, that's what I was committed to. Like, I'm going to do this. And I did. And it was 30-minute sessions. So it was a combination of like strength training and high intensity interval training. And my body just started to transform. And then we get around to March of 2021, and I was back to as small as I was, before I had started kind of going up. I got back down to 134, and I felt good. Even though other people were like, oh my gosh, you're too skinny. And the things that people say, I feel like can be ridiculous, but I'm not going to go off topic. Okay. So things were going well. And instead of keeping the focus on myself, I started feeling like, oh my gosh, I can help other people, like, this is amazing. And it was effortless to go to the gym. Like, there was never, and this is 100%, I'm being 100% with you. There was never a time where I didn't want to go. I didn't get to that point where I had to like, oh, I'm going to I have to push through. I didn't have that. Like, I looked forward to it because I loved what was happening with my body and how strong I was getting and just how much energy I had, the ability to go out and do things with my kids and not feel like they'd be the person that's tired and ready to sit down and go home. And it felt great. I kind of felt like myself again. And unfortunately, during that process, I lost some friends. I was probably being too much, and they were not in the same place or in the same mindset. So I wasn't relatable. When I was overweight and just going out and eating whatever and drinking, I was relatable. And when I stopped doing those things, I became unrelatable, which is fine. Slowly but surely, though, I started to add things in that I had taken out. Like I would go out and I'd go drinking, things like that. Like that's not really good for you. And there's nothing that says that that's something that we have to do as humans, right? But I did. And then I would start eating different things. Now, I did transition to becoming a vegan. Um, I'm still a vegan. And being a vegan does not equal skinny. So I know some people, I hear them say, well, I'm going to go vegan to lose weight. That's not what that's about. It is really about the animals. Anyway, I started eating more junk food. Then I would get like fries and things like that, things that are just not good for you. And then I kept doing that. And then my binges came back even worse. Backtrack. I was taken off the Vyvanse by a doctor who felt like I didn't need to be on it. And slowly but surely, I went from a comfortable 134 back up to 180. So last month, let's see, in February, I was 183 pounds. So I met with a provider and we discussed it and I started Zepbound. So I am now on my 4th week and I'm down to 168.2. So that's how much weight I've lost in this month. And what I said was I was going to use this and do something with it, right? Not just be on it. So since I've started it, I've started back working out. Last week was my first consistent week of working out, and I feel amazing. And so far this week, this is the 2nd day of this week, and I'm already being consistent. I switched back to a whole food plant-based diet. For me, I felt like my body ran more efficiently that way. This is a personal preference, a personal choice, and it works for me and it's working for me. So what the Zepbound is doing that I was not able to do on my own, when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I think about is not food. It's not, oh my God, what am I going to eat? Or how much of this can I have? It's, hey, I'm going to take the dog out, and it's other things. If you're someone who has experienced that, then you know what I'm talking about. If you've never experienced it, then I know this is not relatable for you, because moderation when it came to food was just not something that, like, I felt like I just couldn't stop. It's kind of like maybe like an alcoholic. Like if you're not an alcoholic, you can have a drink socially and it's not a big deal. It's not the same for them. So that's probably the thing that I can compare it to. You know, you don't tell them, you could say all day, well, just put it down, but it doesn't quite work that way. I'm on my 4th week. I'm at 2.5 milligrams still. I already have let me show you. I already have my 5 milligrams, which I'll be starting on Friday. Actually, I'll be starting on Saturday. So I'll be starting the 5 milligrams on Saturday. So far, I have not had any side effects at all. I haven't had any nausea. I haven't been tired. I haven't had any dizziness, no upset stomach. I did have maybe the second week some issues with some mild so I call it constipation because I'm used to going multiple times a day, and we were like, oh, barely once a day. And so for me, I was just like, no, we got to do something about that. So I took some Senna gummies, and I did that for about 3 days, and I've been fine since. So I've been drinking so much water, so much water. I haven't really drank anything else. I'm not a big soda drinker. Even before all of this, I've never really been a big soda drinker unless it was mixed in a drink. But I drink a lot of water, and I've been trying to make sure that I eat enough. I've watched different videos of other people going through the same thing, like they're taking Zepbound or one of the other injectables, and they talk about feeling full, and I don't feel full. Like, I'm just not hungry. So I don't know if other people physically feel full or if they think because they're not hungry, that means they're full. I just know that for me, I don't feel full. I'm just not hungry, but I know I need to eat. So it's not to where I can't eat. It's like, okay. And I don't force myself to go overboard. Even this week, things that I made last week, they're smaller quantities this week because it's just like, okay, I'm not interested. That's what it's that. I think that's a good descriptor. I'm not interested in eating. Whew. For me, that's miraculous. I'm so thankful that my insurance is covering it. So I pay $49 as a copay, which, I mean, it's better than $1,200 for sure. And I'm so thankful. So to circle back to what I started with, for me, this medication has been amazing. And I'm going to be 100% honest with you. If I get to a point where the insurance no longer covers it, I am willing to pay for this for the rest of my life. That is how big of an impact it has had on me. And I don't know what it is or why I am programmed the way that I am, to eat the way that I did, but just to not think about food constantly, like that alone. And then it's like, okay, well, I'm going to make the most of this. Yeah, we all know diet and exercise. I don't have PCOS or any of those other things. I'm not diabetic, and I'm not taking the form of this that's for diabetics. I am taking this for weight loss. I don't have a magic number. I think it would be unrealistic to say 134 pounds because, I mean, I'm 46. I'm not in my 20s. You know what I mean? And even a couple of years ago, the way that I was lifting weights, I was pretty toned. Whenever I get to a point where I feel like, okay, this is good, I'm going to live my life the same regardless. I'm going to continue to eat the way that I eat with the help of the medication. I'm going to continue to be active, which is walking my dog, working out, and I'm doing home workouts. So I'm not going to the gym. I have no interest in that. I'm not going to do anything now that's not going to be sustainable for me. That doesn't mean that I can't change my mind in the future and do something different. But going to the gym, I'm not interested in it. I'm not a runner. I'm not interested in that. A nice little walk in the neighborhood with the dog is good enough for me. Then the home workouts. I'm not eating to the point where I feel physically sick, where my stomach is distended, where I'm gassy, acid reflux. I was going to say heartburn, but yeah, acid reflux. It was miserable. There were some nights where I couldn't lay down. And again, this isn't a logical disorder, right? Logically, you're just like, okay, well, why would you do that? And if I could tell you that, I probably wouldn't have been in that situation to begin with, but that's something that therapy for that will take care of. In the meantime, if you are somebody who struggles with putting the fork down, you may want to give it a try. So what I'm going to do is I'll be making videos. I don't have a schedule yet. this is just kind of, it's taken me this long to just even make this video. Because I know the society that we live in, and anytime you're trying to do something different, it's considered a phobic, thing from something else. And it's not. I can be comfortable in my skin. And I think that's what's important. And if you're someone who is morbidly obese and you're comfortable in your skin, girl, or sir, do your thing. For me, it just wasn't working. So I'm so thankful to have a provider that actually cares, and I'm just going to do what I need to do. I'm going up to 5, and I'm nervous. I'm nervous because every video I've seen, I've not seen a video yet, and I'm sure they're out there. I just haven't seen it, of someone who hasn't had any side effects at all, like none. I haven't had any of the negative side effects. So I don't know if it's because I'm eating the way that I am. I'm drinking, more than enough water. Or our bodies are all different. So just because someone is experiencing those things, that doesn't mean they're doing something wrong. I'm just thankful that I'm not experiencing that. So I hope this wasn't too long-winded, and I would love for you to join me on this journey. I could have waited until I got to a magic number or magic size, but I felt like this is a good form of accountability. And then fully documenting, what I'm doing this time, I think will be beneficial for me and hopefully for you. So until next time, have a great day.